Hamas mediators were targeted in Doha, where they'd been trying to negotiate an end to the conflict. Militants say their leadership team survived, but 6 people were killed.
Yes, Donald Trump is pretty ticked off. His good mate Benjamin Netanyahu launched a military strike with F-16 fighter jets against Hamas on the soil of US ally Qatar.
I was very unhappy about it. Very unhappy about every aspect.
Bibi was unapologetic for the strike, claiming it was direct vengeance for the October 7 Hamas attack 2 years ago.
At the beginning of the war, I promised that Israel would reach those who perpetrated this horror. And today, Israel and I have kept that promise.
It was an unprecedented Israeli strike in the Qatari capital of Doha, which tens of thousands of Aussies have had layovers in if they flew with Qatar Airways. Qatar's Prime Minister called the strike an act of state-sponsored terrorism and said his country reserved the right to retaliate against Israel. The Australian government updated its Smart Traveller website today, warning Aussies to stay alert if they were travelling to Qatar and that travel disruptions were a very real possibility. The US wasn't informed about the strike in advance, and remember, Qatar is an important American ally in the Middle East, and that's a bit embarrassing for Donald Trump, as was the news Poland's Air Force had to shoot down Russian drones in Polish airspace. Kind of makes you wonder about Trump's ability as a peace broker.
We have that one and we have Gaza going on. We want to get them both solved.
This is a $1.7 billion contract that the government signed with the Australian arm of the US defence company Andrew to build these autonomous submarines in Australia.
Ghost Shark does sound futuristic, a bit scary, but it is lethal and it's very high tech. It's essentially a large box, a robot, autonomous vehicle that will travel long distances undersea out from Australia. It's not there to replace manned submarines or traditional platforms, but it will complement what the Royal Australian Navy has. It can spend up to 10 days underwater collecting data and doing various secret missions. It can be used to do surveillance. It can even be used to do lethal strikes against warships. But it's really part of this growing trend towards having autonomous vehicles, both undersea and in the sky, even on land.
Defence Minister Richard Marles announced $1.7 billion would be spent on manufacturing these Ghost Shark autonomous submarines. Will they be purely made for the Australian military, or will we be potentially selling them to third parties?
It's been especially designed for our purposes. But in the announcement today, the government did want to stress, and so did Andrew, the American company, that now that it's entering production here in Australia, there's no reason why the US couldn't start to import some of these, or even other allies around the world. Interesting company, Andrew. It was set up by a young tech bro, as they're known, in the United States, whose name is Palmer Luckey. And he's also a close supporter of Donald Trump. So the announcement will probably be very well received in Washington.